How's it going? How's everybody doing? Essential Notes, back talking fragrance with you guys once again. And I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be talking about my favorite house. I've chosen to dedicate the month of June to my favorite brand in my fragrance journey thus far. And so I'll be sharing about them all month long on all my social media channels. So that's YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok. And that brand, my favorite brand then, is Olympic Orchids, which is a small niche / indie house based out of the Pacific Northwest in the United States. Just to tell you a little bit about the brand, the founder / perfumer is Dr. Ellen Covey, who is a professor at the University of Washington, up in Washington State. And I think she began with starting Olympic Orchids was an orchid nursery, and then she got into fragrance from there and kept that same name. This brand flies way under the radar. It's in my opinion, it's almost criminal. They've been not like a lot of their fragrances have been nominated for art and olfactive awards, so they put out that caliber of fragrance where they're being voted on of having like the best fragrance out released that year. And they've done that a number of times, I think. Now they're not putting out any fragrances anymore. They've kind of stopped new releases, but they have an extensive catalog. So they really have stuff in there for everyone. And I have not thoroughly explored the brand. There's still a number of fragrances that I need to get samples of and try out, but I have a number of them, and there's still a number on my must-buy list, and then there's some that I still have to try, which I'm sure I'm going to add more to my must-buy list when I do. But anyway, today I'm going to be covering Café V. So this is a fragrance that's inspired by coffee shops and cafes up in the Seattle area. This is a very interesting fragrance because at first, when I first smelled it, I deemed it a coffee fragrance, and maybe like I would still classify it as that, but it's so much more, and it's unique and it's special, and I'll get into why. But we'll kind of hit you with a little bit of a look at the atomizer, which is no joke. This is their 30 ml bottle. This is what I typically buy. I don't buy 100 ml bottles. I just have been repurchasing 30. But I like this brand so much that I'm thinking that, especially for the ones that I absolutely like, my top 5, from the brand, I might start buying 100 ml bottles. It's just more cost effective in the long run. But I do like the price of the 30 ml. It also enables me, because I keep adding to the must-buy list, it enables me to keep kind of extending the amount of different fragrances I have from the brand as I want to pick up more. So, maybe once I'm locked in on the ones that I love, I can start upgrading them to 100 ml. But I'm gonna kind of, God, this is a freaking good fragrance. I'm gonna go over the notes. So the notes are espresso roast coffee, dark cacao, vanilla, cream, spicy chai, cardamom, leather, and well-worn woods. And when I first tried it, it was a coffee-forward fragrance to my nose. I love the things that were complementing the coffee at that time. The chai and cardamom really kind of spice things up. You have the dark cacao giving this sense of decadence, this vanilla adding sweetness, the cream, really the cream, I would say the vanilla and the cream component create this really almost like a frothy latte vibe. And then it's just the type of coffee they use. They got it. Like when you walk into a coffee shop, this is that type of coffee that's being ground up, and they're pulling shots. Yeah, pulling shots, I believe. You got the whole ambiance going on. So anyways, that's how it was when I first wore it. Like, and I'm like, they nailed it. They got like the whole coffee shop vibe. It was very coffee forward. I loved it. I wore it a second time, and all I got was like predominantly was spice. It smelled like a spiced coffee, but really the spices were so prominent that it felt more like that was the focus. I didn't really get any, there's a little bit of vanilla there. I didn't really get the creaminess. The cacao I didn't pick up at all. There was a leather component, but and I was just floored because I journal each time I wear a fragrance, and my journal entry from the first time to the second time was vastly different. So then I wore it a third time, and I got spicy woods with coffee, like maybe like in the heart, but it wasn't coffee forward. It was more woody with these spices kind of surrounding it. And then I wore it a fourth time, and I got like this gourmand, this more decadent gourmand. Coffee was at the core, but you had the cacao really came forward. The vanilla seemed more strong than it had in the past. You had those spicy elements that were like elevating all of that creamy component, and really like all of that captured my attention. So that was like the fourth time. And then I wore it a fifth time, and I could have swore this was a leather fragrance. Leather was the predominant thing. It was a sweet kind of worn leather with sweetness and woods, and there was coffee, but the coffee in the last wearing was in the background. So it really wasn't, it felt like it was more kind of like an afterthought, the way it came out on my skin. And so I'm sure that all had to do with temperature and the different temperatures and how things were coming off my skin at the time. But I've just, I in my head, now that I've worn it, I kind of know what to expect, but it's always fun because I don't know what I'm going to get. And this time I'm getting, again, I get like a spicy kind of leather prominent, and I have a dry down here, and yeah, there's more woods here in the dry down, but again, there's elements of coffee there, but the prominence always seems to change and shift. And I think it's a spectacular scent because of that. I appreciate that. Some people, that might drive them crazy. I don't know. But I will say this. Across the board, it is a cozy, warm, inviting fragrance. Like a warm, like a small, intimate coffee shop or cafe would be. I think they did an excellent job. And if you're familiar with the Pacific Northwest, they're a coffee culture. Like the culture is coffee up there. They love their coffee. I lived up in the Pacific Northwest in Olympia for a few years, and it was great. And I've been to places like this. Anyways, I'm gonna tag Olympic Orchids in this video. I'll give their website. Check them out. Go check out their samples. Grab some samples that you think would be fitting for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Try Café V if you're a coffee fan, if you're a gourmand fan, if you like leather, if you like woods, or if you like spice. Give it a shot. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Stay tuned for more Olympic Orchid stuff, and that's all I got for you. So if you guys could, it's a fairly new YouTube channel. If you could like, comment, subscribe, and share this, it would greatly help. I'm just trying to grow this thing little by little, and I love the engagement. That's mostly what I'm here for. So please, I'd love any questions or thoughts or your impressions. If you've tried Café V, I'd love to get your thoughts on it, and if you had that same vibe about prominence shifting. But that's all I got for you, and until next time, peace.